Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 26 of Thessia, our Australia-inspired build. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I want to take a little bit of time to reflect on Thessia at the start of today's episode, how far the CBD has come. Transport hubs, stadiums, marinas, downtown plazas, it's all really come quite a long way, hasn't it, from starting out with that tiny little town Valkyrie, and it's all connected with this really cool, functional internal train network. Really massively enjoying piecing Thessia together. But today what I wanted to do is actually take a break from the downtown project because we've been here for quite a few episodes now, and I want to get back into building a really kind of cute rural town. I'm using a town called Corunda in the east of Australia today for building a kind of scenic railway town, and really great inspiration, and we'll credit our subscribers for these shout outs a little bit later on in the episode. I just wanted to grab some rails here that are going to start feeding out of Thessia's central transit hub, so and really kind of hammering home the fact that you can get pretty much anywhere in Thessia via train, and making that the priority over the car, really. So just some simple network expansion today as we start heading into a little mountain range that's in the very far east of Thessia. We haven't really been over this side of the map at all yet. So a little bit of network multi-sloping where appropriate to get this line to fit in, and you'll kind of see where we are in context here, you know, right on the edge of the map. We're not too far out from Valkyrie. You could definitely drive to Valkyrie from here, it's not that far away. And that will certainly expand networks over to the kind of eastern side of Valkyrie eventually as well once this town grows up. And my inspiration today has kind of a big river gorge flowing through it, so we'll also do a little bit of terraforming just to establish that sort of vibe. But today's build turns into a really interesting town, one of my favourites that we've done in the city, if not my current favourite. Let me know if it is your new favourite town as well by the time the episode ends. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the live play. And again, just like to thank you for all support on Thessia. I hope you guys are enjoying it so much. So first of all, big shout outs to Joel and Sean for today's inspo. Corunda in the Eastern Australia is a really inspiring town, and it should be a lot of fun today, and definitely can't wait to start playing with a scenic railway, which I think is going to be a really cool idea. And we'll definitely have some more things over here, because actually we can see there's kind of hydroelectric dams down the gorges and lots of nature detailing, so this side of the map is going to be really developed. So we'll start with this railway, right? We're just going to have a small little rural town out here. And definitely want the railway to be the sort of focal point of today's build. So, of course, I think Seaside Resorts Station is going to be the obvious choice here, isn't it? So we'll have this here. Let's get rid of Ron as well. Cool. So we'll have that there. Go ahead and grab our train tracks too. So having this pass in and around the little kind of waterfall gorge that we've set up in today's introduction is going to be really important. Really want it to wind and hug a lot of these curves. Something like this should be good. Yeah. Of course, we're going to have a lot of unevenness today until we essentially network multi-slope it. So now can we come into an elevation? Let's come ahead and do this, I think. Yeah, of course, it's extremely steep. But a really cool part of Australia, this one. I actually love to come and ride this myself. There's a scenic railway that passes from this town back down into, I think Cairns it runs into. Cool, so we'll have that there. Let's now use Network Multi-Tool to connect these two lines together. We'll just go for a simple curve connection from here down to here. Cool, and we definitely want to actually force this to ground as well for the most part. I don't want bridges on this section. We'll do a little bit of softening as well to get all this nice and smooth. Let's also push this one back up here a little bit as well. Cool, so now it can start climbing into the foothills of Thessia. And we haven't really spent too much time over this side of the map either, have we? It's pretty isolated over here. Going to get some nice views of Thessia that we've never seen before. Some of these mountain ranges coming into view. Some bits of new ocean and coastline all around here to be developed. Not sure what else is going to lie out here. Not too far from Valkyrie over this side as well. A bit of context as where we actually are here. But I'm enjoying that, I think, for the most part. So let's now multi-slope back from this side of the bridge down toward the station, which will hopefully be a nice easy one. Yeah, it's going to cut through the mountain. I don't mind a little bit of kind of cliff texture starting to show around this thing. Also want to try see if we can import some viewing platforms up onto this rail as well today, like there actually is in real life. It's kind of look like kind of mini stations where you can get on and off to enjoy some of the viewpoints, because there is a big waterfall around here in Australia as well. Cool, so real scenic railway now snaking along the mountainsides. Really happy with that. I'd love to try and do a bit of an experiment actually here. So we got this bridge here, which is obviously just a nice looking rail bridge. But what I would love to have is essentially the dirt road bridge here. So if we were to paint this out, yeah, it does. It gives us that aesthetic, doesn't it? If I move this here, I want to set it to the same height as the railway. But essentially want to have this match the rail, so the rail has that kind of tunnel on it. I'm not sure how viable this is going to be. I guess if we sink it down, we do still get that wooden thing there, don't we? So I want to have that kind of bridge from the dirt road as the rail bridge. It's going to take a fair bit of finagling, I think, but we can possibly get away with it. We'll see how it goes. Let's go ahead and grab our rail bridge here again. And we'll bring this on, force ourselves into bridge, and we want it to essentially run to about here, but obviously with no collision on. Yeah, that's essentially what I want to happen. So as a very rudimentary practice, that is what I'd want. So let's get that arranged with move it and height nodes and whatnot, and we'll see if it's at all possible. So it is possible. We've also removed the pillars off of the rail bridge as well, so we can run with the stone ones that come with this dirt road tunnel. But I think it's pretty convincing, right? We're going to have to do something about this. I'm not entirely sure what yet. I'll have to see if I can figure something out. Because obviously the train's going to collide with the wood. And maybe just a touch more sinking down will fix that. But from the right angle, from most perspectives, it's pretty convincing, right? As a rail bridge. So I think we'll go with that. We'll see if it works anyway. But either way, we do actually have this connection in now, so we can run a train from here all the way into the CBD, and we're going to have this run here and then back. Now it might also have a few added stops along here once we develop something out this way, but for right now we're just going to have the back and forth, and we'll see what happens with it. We also want to give road connection now for these folks, so we'll grab this road that comes off of the interchange and get a little freeform tool here. Let's turn our snapping back on. And again, we're playing with sort of national road vibes here. So let's have this come up this way. We will cross over the creek, I guess. And then we'll come back down to earth. And then we'll keep this going kind of past today's town, which we are going to name after yet more Thessia kind of icons. Like we've got Sentinel, Venezia, and Valkyrie, of course. So we are going to name today's town after another kind of a Sari themed name, if you like. But we do now have National Highway coming out here. There's probably an obvious choice to hook it in here as well, actually, isn't there? Which I think we probably will do, because this is going to give at least a little bit more connectivity into Valkyrie. But we can keep the Aussie National Road going for a good bit yet. For right now, we'll develop an interchange here in a second, so we'll just give that connection and see. I don't think anyone's going to use it yet. We'll have to wait until something's up here. But for right now, it's going to be okay. So the connection into the town in Australia is actually just a bit of asymmetry. So we'll see if we can have those 5 lanes. Yeah, that's what I want. 5-lane asymmetrical here. So we'll upgrade 2 sections of it. It's not an enormous junction. And we want those 3 lanes facing into the junction here. Oh, look at that. They are actually using it here. There's a ton of people actually. I'm guessing this is all dummy traffic, isn't it? Yeah, driving out the city, Yeah, dummy traffic is taking this way, which is okay, I guess. A lot of camper vans driving down this way. I'm pretty happy with that. And then again, we'll do some more asymmetry on these junctions that come up to the town, which we will name very shortly because I can't keep calling it the town. It actually needs a name. Cool, so a little node controller kiss here as well. Let's widen everyone out. Nice wide, important junction into the town. I'm pretty happy with that. Kind of what we're seeing in Australia as well. No traffic light here either. We'll just ask everyone to give way. Yeah, there's a ton of dummy traffic using this, isn't there? It's okay though, it's absolutely fine. Cool, so let's meander this one up through the hills and far away. We will actually switch back to 2-lane road here though. Don't need anything larger than that coming up into the mountain. So we'll just snake this up, very different angles, something like that. Hopefully it's not going to be too horrendous. Cool, so let's just do a little road time lapse here of setting up the road frames for the town, and then we'll name it as well. So we got a little town frame set up now, and got to tell you, after spending so long in the CBD, really nice to get back to some small town Australia designs, and really loving the way this is coming up now, especially this view right here. I think is going to be a secret blend of herbs and spices for this particular town. Either way, let's get some commercial down. So a lot of our workshop assets here, the New Zealand stuff in particular is going to work quite nicely here, and we will get out to New Zealand eventually. I realise we're doing a lot of kind of Oz-inspired stuff for the duration of Thessia, at least the first 25 episodes. But I definitely do want to get some New Zealand vibes in. So let's get some of this small town commercial stuff down. Really great collection here. There's it's all down in the asset collection below if you want to see it. Or come and use it rather. So a few different ones of these. I want to try to stick to the older looking buildings, a little bit of red brick like Andy's Bowling or Mandy's Bowling for anyone that's been around on the channel for a while. Yeah, lots of these older looking buildings, red brick etc. is what we're after. Nothing too tall as well though. That's definitely not what we're after here. I love the marketplace as a corner asset. There we go. That's going to be a really nice entrance, isn't it, at the train station? Little marketplace there. That's very fancy. Huge lover of that one. So we'll have that one in as well. Lots of the university city stuff is also relatively red brick, isn't it? So we'll get a little bit of that in. Try and avoid the stuff with the drive-throughs on it, because we do have the parking on the road here. With a little bit of disabled kind of in the middle of the street as well. The Orchid Italia is another really nice asset, so let's slide all these up towards that space, and then we will respect our corners where we have them. There we go, that one's perfect there, isn't it? Two really nice corner assets there. Of course we want these people to be happy and healthy, so let's give them some services. I want a post office as well, again just thinking of appropriate corner assets. Do we also have our New Zealand post office? Which again I think is probably the better choice, isn't it? And then it looks like we can squeeze our New Zealand one in there. Might also include the vanilla one as well actually, just because it is such a nice corner asset, but we can blend that in with our vanilla ones there, can't we? Let's also not forget about the banks, because they're, again, really nice corner units. Let's dive into them. Which one do we want there? Small bank. Yeah, let's have this one. We'll have that in the corner here, I think. Yeah, we'll have a little bank there. It's going to make all our commercial happy as well, isn't it? I'd also love a little alleyway here as well that feeds people back to the main street from the car parking behind. So if we can allow that to happen, where do we want to slide these up? Let's keep our old buildings to the right here. There we go, and then we'll feed probably just a vanilla pathway, I imagine we'll do. Don't need anything else other than that. Overall snapping. Get this down. Hope we start seeing some people coming to use the park in there. There's something so insanely satisfying about building a high street, isn't there? I'm liking the way it's just coming up. I think what we do need to do is possibly head to the workshop and grab kind of an older kind of steam engine train. These modern trains aren't really in line with the vibe we have, and I also doubt they would run along a mountain rail like this, some of those higher speed trains. So before the end of the episode, I'll jump on the workshop and see if we can find something to replace that with something of a bit of an older train. Let's continue with the services. Let's give them some healthcare. Now, we do have the asset we haven't used for a while. Yeah, St. John's Ambulance Sub-Centre. So that one's going to work quite nicely there, will it? This is the one we have in Valkyrie, isn't it? So if we can have that up there, I will move the building spawn point, otherwise we're going to have ambulances driving right out onto the parking, which will look a little weird. So we'll have them come out from here, and then we can surface paint all that up and do some nice little designs with some ambulance props come our detail in time lapse. Let's keep this bit as grass actually. We'll get some trees in here. Go ahead and get a nice tree. It's all very leafy around here in Australia, so we want lots of trees in this town. Cool, so we got med clinic. Let's give them fire as well. Again, the seaside resort assets are going to be the obvious choices here, aren't they? Let's have one of these. We'll go for right here for the fire station, just on the corner into town. Knock it over there a bit on the corner. Very nice. And then police station as well. Again, we'll use the seaside resort as well. It's the obvious choice, isn't it? And perhaps we'll have this over by the train station here, up against the main street. Also wouldn't mind a couple of seaside resorts uniques in this town as well. So let's grab those if we can find them. There we go. Again, nothing massive, pretty sensible and cute and tame is the general vibe I'm after here. Something like that. Gonna be quite good, I think. Something a little bit larger down the street. Maybe the Coast Guard Heritage Museum. Seems a strong shout, doesn't it? We could actually do a little bit of a design out of that, like it is an older house left on the main street, as it's had newer stuff developed around it. So we can bring it there before it disconnects, which is fine. And then let's just grab a little vanilla dirt pathway here. And we'll connect that to the front of the building. Wonderful. Let's get some nicer trees around that as well. Stick to our workshop stuff. A couple of big numbers out the front. Maybe a gun behind the back there. And a couple of palms or whatnot. And be happy with that. Now let's try again. Stick to our older looking assets around that so there's nothing too jarring. Definitely a lot of King Leno's stuff is kind of off the table today. This is all too modern for what I'm looking for. Definitely a couple of these side by side always go well, don't they? Got an ice cream parlour in there too. I don't mind doing a bit of zoning. We just have to be careful we don't get a car park on the front of the asset. So we'll see what grows in there. We'll also save a little bit of room here as well for another cut through against that commercial. Tap into our grid and feed that across. Cool. So we'll see what grows up. So I'm happy to have some asset zoning, but I think for the majority we do want them to be plopped. Interesting to see if anyone's taken the train from the CBD. Yes, there we go. First people arriving from downtown Thessia. Wonderful news. Be good if we could get a bus from here to Valkyrie, wouldn't it? Although Valkyrie is currently packed with the dead, so we might have to be. I'll reset some cemeteries over here. Yes, I do wonder if there's possibilities for a bus that comes back to Valkyrie train station, maybe. We do have the capacity for another bus line here. Not sure how realistic that is to have buses running from kind of towns that are this far apart. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. Might do one of the detailing time lapse. But yes, all this is fine to get a fryer guys here. Yeah, so it's this stuff we want to lose really. Don't want car parking on them. And yeah, same for that as well. It's a really weird fry guy spawning, isn't it? It's got nothing behind it here, but that's alright. We've also got a fair bit of residential demand as well. And again, we've got some of these New Zealand houses that I'd love to have factored in. Now, they're pretty far spread in the town we're looking at here. So let's do a little Alt-V trick here and see if we can get some nicer spawnings in. There we go, it's going to be fairly decent. Let's keep them nicely spaced as well. There's very little density over this way. We'll try to respect that where we can. These New Zealand houses are really, really nice, aren't they? Look at those. Really delicious. Great fencing on them. Really good assets. Again, all down in Thessia's collection if you want to come and grab anything that you see in a Thessia episode. All available for you. Let's also get a cricket pitch in here as well. We can see one in Corunda, so we will respect that vibe as well. Let's go for sports venues, of course, and we'll get a suburban cricket pitch in. That's really cool. It's going to make everyone happy. And then we can actually snap these dirt pathways together to feed everyone back around this town. Lots of people walking back to that train station as well, hopefully. I did also connect another road down here in the road time lapse, which is, again, a little bit of use. Don't want it to become the main entry into town though. So hopefully people will still continue to use this one here, which will IMT up as well during our time lapse today. Look at this for the first time. Love seeing a busy main street come together. These roads make a huge difference as well, don't they? The ones with the parking on the side. Absolutely love these assets. Very good. Oh, that mountain over there too. Can we get a better view of that from the next street over? Maybe sat here. What a place to live. This would be tremendous, wouldn't it? Be really fun living here. Like, look at these. The view from these guys' garden. We can get in and see the little trampoline. That's pretty special, isn't it? No view of the CBD from here either. Feels very isolated, doesn't it? A lot more rural, I think, than any of the other towns we've done so far. Really enjoying it. Really enjoying it. I'm certainly feeling a few more seaside resort assets, but again, I want to stick to this end of them, really, so we're not getting too big. I think we'll stick Empire House near the train station here. Let's see if we can give this a bit of an angle. How far can we knock you back before you become unhappy? Quite far, actually. Again, I think we'll do what we did on the main street here, is give it a little pathway up. And then we'll see if we can just create a little kind of complex around it, something like that. Got some bushier trees here too. Kind of figs in the gardens. Or larger, kind of older trees that have been here for generations, etc. Stuff like that. There we go. Those trains are getting busier every time they come in now, aren't they? Lovely stuff. I definitely don't want lots of concrete around here. So I think what we will end up doing is running a fair bit of dirt surface paint, especially between road frames like this. Let's keep it quite rural looking. Very little asphalt, if any at all, in most spaces. Especially at the front of the station here as well, maybe. Feed all this through. Apologies if you heard that outside. We are having an enormous thunderstorm right now. I think that came through on the mic. There's a big rumble of thunder. I am playing with the Natural Disasters DLC in real life. Need more of our zoned assets have come in here now. I'm happy to have that backwater burger place in. We'll keep those in and we'll actually make a little design here just to respect the car park that's on the back of it. That'd be cool if we could make like a little mini drive through there actually. So let's just do this with the parking lot road, one of the service ones. And we'll bring this... Actually, can we grab a small one? Yeah, let's go for one of these 2-lane alley roads. Bring that up and around the back. Although that is going to disturb the zoning, isn't it? So we actually want to make sure we tell the game to have no zoning on that road. There we go. And then we'll bring that back in. Grab and move it so we can finagle the nodes a little bit closer. So all this kind of fits and sits together. We'll also get some brush decals here as well, so we can tidy up some of this concrete, because surface painter won't particularly play well with the other concrete textures here. There we go. There's also a little bit of a rougher edge against that pathway as well. So we'll have a bit more there. tidy up that service pane to work on that corner, and then we can use that little space there for a nice little tree lining. I'm going to try to keep this town as green and as nice as possible today. There we go. Now it kind of makes it look like that Fry Guys in the drive-thru have a bit more purpose, don't they, if you can come in at the back of them. So I think we'll enjoy that a bit more. I'm in love with this town already, which we do need to name. And that name is going to be Samara, of course, after our Thessia themed names. We will keep our Asari people coming in. But otherwise, guys, this feels like a good place for a detailed town. I just want to get a few more raw houses plopped around, lots of detailing and trees to do in the spaces left remaining, also around our med clinic as well. And I will jump to the workshop, see if we can find a better train than this one, something a bit more aesthetically appropriate. I'm not too worried about capacity. It's not going to be an enormous town, so we don't want to have hundreds, if not thousands of people travelling here. But yeah, lots of IMT, fun detailing, trees, and a bit more plopping to do. But I really love a rural town build, especially in our Australian theme. So let's do some detailing, and then we will be right back. Alright guys, have a little detail review, shall we? So around our main junction into the town, I've copied the exact intersection markings that are there in the real world. Just real simple dashed lines, and it's quite scuffed up. Imagine it's not kind of re-tarmacked super often, so a lot of decals around here. Yeah, really nice and simple. I think, you know, simple IMT is often a lot more impactful than kind of overly complicated IMT like we have in the downtown, isn't it? Really like this sort of stuff. But anyway, we come up the hill, where we arrive at our roundabout, where I've added in a little slip lane here so people can just peel off rather than having to enter into the roundabout. And then just simple decorations again taken from the real world, all nice and simple, really kind of minimalistic markings. And that turned out really nicely, big fan of it. Some also pretty much mimicked the roundabout as well. That's actually in the town. So really happy with this. For some finagled commercial over here with some very light prop detailing just to expand the back of it with that bit of chain link fencing, which is really impactful against the back of those houses, isn't it? That's a spy sample right there. Really love this town. Samara's turned out beautifully. Possibly one of the nicer towns we've done. There is a dog on the roof. That's amazing. Oh, there we go. That's his owner. I thought he was just on his own. Oh well. I thought the dog had just nipped for a coffee, but that's fine. Yeah, bits of commercial knocking around here as we come onto our high street trees. Lots of open green space here respected around the town, like we find in Google Earth. And then just nicely arranged commercial. There's something about these roads and just developing a authentic commercial high street that I really enjoy, especially when you get people sitting on the benches like they do here. Really adds a lot to the street, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm really going to miss this stuff from Cities 1. When Cities Skylines 2 comes out, it's just, Cities 1's just so good, isn't it? Especially with the mods, just absolutely love it. So good. There you go, another girl enjoying one of the bench props there. So really happy with how that's turned out. Our Empire House sits over here now as well, with lots of people using the pathways to get back into the station. Got a fencing and overgrowth through here. There we got some ambulance props now out the back of our medical clinic with a fence around there as well. A few more trash props around the back of the Fry Guys, where we had that big open concrete space now with people cutting back into across this pathway here, which is really sweet. And then a bit of car parking, of course, which is part of the asset itself, which is nice. It's like someone's just left their scooter in the drive-thru. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. But either way, as we come over into this space, we've got a church again with some fencing, a few tiles and bushes around the front of the church, and a graveyard over here as well to help service that death care need, of course. And I really like this view here from someone's porch. See the church across the street, just kind of the back of the commercials, the mountains. Oh, there we go, he just got home. How convenient was that? So he's just got home, and then these New Zealand assets are absolutely gorgeous, aren't they? Really nice residential units, so if you haven't played with them, definitely go give them a try in the workshop. Over here, dropped in an elementary school where we have just extended the hedge pattern out the back, dropped in a small playground, and then some accompanying playground props just to widen it out a little bit, so we have a nice elementary school here. If they want a high school, they've got to go further afield. I guess they'll catch the scenic train back into the CBD, which, speaking of, we did go ahead and grab a steam engine asset off of the workshop, which I think is pretty appropriate. It's a really nice one. Again, I'll add this down to Thessia's collection now, and I think much more appropriate for a scenic railway, you know, rather than a Japanese bullet train. So I definitely needed to get that. So that goes off and down there. We'll have a look at the bridge over in a second. And this is mainly it for the town, just some small winding commercial that comes down this hill. A mix of European suburbia, vanilla, and some fancier mid-century modern houses over here. And what a view from this guy's back garden, right? If we enjoy view here, he's got his pool, like view to the mountain. Super heavy, like rainforest vibes that we see in this part of Australia. And I really enjoy this town. Like, I love Samara. It's a lot quainter than the other ones. And what we will definitely do is come back through here in future episodes and live streams and add little nuances and details onto our scenic railway, because there's a lot in this part of Australia that we can see in Google Earth, so there's definitely lots of inspiration to be had. I've also prepared the scenic railway to continue out this way and eventually link back up with the rail in Valkyrie, but I imagine we're going to have a stop somewhere along here as to whatever ends up developing at this space here. We do have another beach over this way, So maybe kind of a Cairns-inspired town actually might be quite good over here. But also makes sense having that mountain railway wind up into Samara. So yeah, definitely maybe a Cairns-inspired build over this side of the beach perhaps. We'll have to wait and see. And there's more stuff to do over here as well. Heading back across the town. So I haven't figured out a way to get rid of the wooden, I guess, road actually that's on this tunnel / bridge thing. Tried to network skins it, didn't work at all. So you can see how it clips through as it comes through there. You can only tell when you're very close up, so if anyone knows a way we could possibly get involved with that. I've also just noticed that I do need to remove those pillars again because I did upgrade it to get rid of the electric wires that were poking through. So if anyone knows a way that we can do that to get rid of the the bit of wood there, then do let me know, because it would be a nice improvement. But otherwise you can only tell when you're very close up, and I love that aesthetic there, right? How cool is that? Really like that. And then we've also got one of these cute little viewing platforms that we see in Google Earth, where lots of people can stop on the train and enjoy some signage about what they're seeing, enjoy views over the rainforest and, you know, the stream down there and the gorge and views out to the ocean. So hopefully this is pretty authentic to what we see. Again, a big shout out to you guys for suggesting this town. It's incredibly inspiring, and I really enjoyed how it all came together. Otherwise, guys, that is going to do it for the town of Samara. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, as always, likes, comments and shares below really do help me out. Equally as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave me a dislike as well. Really nice to be back in the small town Australia vibe after spending so long constructing the CBD, but we will be back over there next week, I imagine, because we need to start on the Canberra area, if not the campus for the downtown, which is always a lot of fun, building those inner city campuses. But please enjoy some really nice cinematics of Samara and the grander kind of setting within the Thessian landscape here. Big fan of this town, hope you enjoyed it as well. Otherwise, please do enjoy the cinematics, but I'll shut up and leave it there. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.